Hi, everybody. This is 1,231 days that we're counting in this investigation into the code red murder of our son, Richard Halliday. And, it's just, I'm never prepared to come on and speak because there are so many facets to this case. There's so much to learn. And, so I'm going to do the best that I can to tell you what happened. Every day, it seems like there's breaking news. Every day, there's new insights that really change the whole look of this case. And today is no different. So, and we know that Richard is the Vanessa Guillen first absent soldier. Let me make sure I'm all plugged in and I'm on Facebook. So if you want to ask any questions, I'll be glad to answer them at the best that I can. Okay. So yep, I'm on. And sorry that I'm coming on so late. We're going to burn the midnight oil. One of the very glad to answer them. Okay. Oh, let me turn this way down. So the very first thing that I want to address is yesterday I had a very short live stream. My focus, our focus, Team 5 Richard Halliday, was on the report from ABC 7 at 10. And I can tell you this, um, they're not going to get a Pulitzer. They're not going to get a Pulitzer for that kind of reporting. It's just, such a um, that what they do is they break up the funds so it looks like uh, the millions of dollars is smaller than what it is, and they leave, like, oh, and by the way, Bill Hicks has money set aside too, in addition, right? But then um, they never tell you how much that much money is, and then they say, oh, Kavia, we have the record, but then they don't show the record. Why don't they show the record? If it's an open record, let's see the record and let us decide for ourselves. Show us the hard evidence. We want the hard evidence. And, they've always told us that in Richard's case, show us the hard evidence. And, um, we think there's tons of money being spent. Okay. And I think that they're not lying, they're just being a false witness. That's my take. Because they're only telling us bits and pieces. And then I believe that they are funneling money into Richard's case under the guise of the Patrick Crucius case. So then you have to separate. Okay, so we're spending 20 million on Richard's case and 7 million, 11 million on Patrick Crucius case. That makes it 40 million or 30 million dollars, right? 30 it's a lot of money. They are it's a lot of money. And that's it's beyond us because we've never had and lived with that kind of money, right? Those kind of numbers around us. So it's very difficult to wrap our minds around the type of money that they spend and that they have and that they can make and that they could put us in debt for. $33 trillion in debt. And what do we have? We don't have what $33 trillion of debt could buy, that's for sure. So where's the money going, right? I mean, we should all be very, very wealthy with that kind of debt, and yet we're not. And we would never, ever be worried about anybody coming over the border if all of that money was spent properly. Um, but we're not. I mean, we are concerned. We're not prepared, and this is why we're nervous because of keeping our jobs and our militaries in such bad shape. And they want to. What did I tell you? I told you this months ago, and I did not want to be right. I didn't want to be right, but I saw the reading. You can put the tea leaves in the cup and you can see the reading that what they would do, and it makes me very, very upset to even say it, that they would take these migrants and they would put them in the military. And that was brought up yesterday. Um, yeah, so let's do some checkoffs. As far as the report goes, I don't give it high marks on Kavia. Okay. Sorry. Um, we need honesty. We don't need juggling games. And they're trying to entertain us with a juggling game. And a juggling game that is harming, hurting, destroying our our communities, our country, our safety, absolutely draining us, conning us. They're big con artists, right? So we don't need those kind of juggling games. We need straight out open records laid out in front of us, um, so that we can see the facts. And why would KVIA get the open records? And we've been working on it, working and working with all of our letters, asking for the open records of the accounting of the Patrick Crucius case and Richard Halliday's case. And we've had to get the records uh, through people that work in that kind of job and understand how money is spent and give us estimates, so we know that we can give you an estimate. If they're not going to give us an open records, we're going to give you an estimate on how much to expect the funds to be from intelligent sources, right? So that is our assessment is, I would say it's an F, not an F minus, but an F, because they failed to be honest again. Um, yeah, so that's let's check that one off. Um, let's think about the FBI director Ray. I was even listening, and I still have to wrap my head around it, and talk to Team Fine Richard Halliday to get their take on Senator Ted Cruz and Ray and others, since he was in front of the Congress today. And I don't know if it's just a show. Sometimes I think it's just a show, because why didn't Ted Cruz ask about Richard Halliday? Is the FBI hiding the remains of Richard Halliday? Because we have an FBI employee, one of your employees, Director Ray, that says that the FBI has found Richard Halliday's remains. And shh, shh, it's a secret. It's a secret. And they found this active duty soldier's remains in Mexico. In Mexico. That's what one of your employees is saying. What do you say to that? This is one of our active duty soldiers. This is, I have oversight of him. Why didn't Ted Cruz ask Director Ray that when he had the time? Because it would open up the whole border discussion, the open border discussion, the risk, the absolute national security risk that we're having. And it would also address the FBI involvement in this case. Since Nadal Baim made that statement, the FBI have been involved, right? Also, the ATF, um, which, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives. So there are firearms involved in this case, and the Mexican military was there. The Mexican uh, government was there, and Homeland Security was there. I'm wanted to, so that's a check. That's a check. Okay, because I wanted to talk about the FBI. And I was listening to Ray. I'm going to add a little more. I was listening to him and begging for funds. That's what he was doing, begging for money. I think that at this point, from what I know, I think that the FBI needs to be closed down. They're up to no good, y'all. And they cost us a lot of money to be up to no good. They use our money to be up to no good. And they have not done us a favor at all. That, that's just my opinion. And I just think if I was up there, if I was in Congress, I would say, how fast, my question would be, Director Ray, how fast could you pack your bags and get the hell out of here? Get out of here, go get a different job, right? How fast could you close down the FBI? How fast could you transition all the employees in the FBI into productive work? Maybe I'd give them some time for that, but go get productive work. Um, and maybe that's insulting to some FBIs out there, but I've been insulted by the FBI. Richard has been insulted by the FBI. Team Find Richard Halliday is insulted by the FBI. Okay? And I can go on and on. And I'm sure many other people are insulted by the FBI. You know, it just goes on and on. The insults that that the FBI has caused our country, and and I feel like the good men and women that are in the FBI, they can get other productive work. They could they could actually serve our country if they get out of the FBI. That's how I feel about the FBI, and I know that is pretty strong. Um, could I be proven wrong? Could they do something good in this case? I don't think so. I'm not counting on it, um, because I just think it's just that far gone. But uh, you know, uh, I'm not in Congress. I can't say, pack your bags. How fast can you be out of here? How fast can you transition everybody into a more useful job? Or, um, yeah, but they're just up to no good. So that's a check. I was listening to Senator Graham, and, I mean, wow. Just wow. I think what I would tell him too, if I was in Congress and Ray was sitting there and I had a chance to speak with Ray, I'd divert my time and just after hearing what Senator Graham, his questioning of Ray, I'd say I just want to question Senator Graham, like, how fast could you pack your bags and get the hell out of here? Um, these people, they just, you know, they are just warmongers and spymongers, and they're just up to no good in every area of life. And I'm just, very insulted by them. And I don't want, we're paying for them. So we're paying to be insulted. And I don't want any of my money to go to them anymore. So that is, that's what I would say. So that has been very, very interesting. The other thing that I think is super interesting is that Richard's case is connected to the Walmart mass shooting case that happened on August 3rd, 2019. That date, I think, and Dallas, tell me that the records are wrong. But I think that's Dallas's birthday. Dallas Hart's birthday is August 3rd, 1995. I believe that's true. And the mass shooting was on August 3rd. I bet that was very, very sad for you. Very sad for you. I just think that that is, wow. Uh, a little bit shocking. Does anybody else think that is kind of like a wowzer? That Dallas Hart's birthday is the same date as the Walmart mass shooting, and he is the key suspect in Richard's case, and Richard's case is directly connected to the mass shooting case. Um, and Patrick Crucius. Now, I mentioned something yesterday that is a little concerning, and I wanted to um, explain. Uh, I'm my background is education, and part of my education was deciding, what areas of education did I want to get into, and I didn't know, and I didn't know if it should be special ed or if it should be math because I like math. I'm a That was my minor, was in math, um, or childhood education, um, or should it be high school? You just don't know. So I did. I took an extra year going through college and experienced some time with the special ed and also with early childhood education. So, I actually worked with autistic children, with Down syndrome children, and children with other disabilities, and of course, very young children. Um, and that's just part of who I am now. Is especially with homeschooling. Um, when you see children, young adults, I always go into the education mode. I always, how can you teach this person? Uh, what is the best method to teach this person? What are their needs? What are their personalities? What are their disabilities? What are their strengths? I mean, that's what a teacher does, right? They look at their audience, they look at their students, and they look at other people, and they, say, okay, what are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? How can they be taught? How can they teach me? right? Can they teach me? Um, so that is, and I think I talked to Sammy C about this, about education quite a bit, because that's a passion of mine. And looking at Patrick Crucius closely, because I never did. I've been so busy looking at Richard's case. And now that through 3905 Bliss Avenue, um, that Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, Felix Valenzuela, the medical examiner, Dr. Mario A. Rascon Ortiz, the Rocha family, uh, Danae Katzen and her family, and it goes on, are connected through this house. That seems to be, I'm going to just uh, make sure I try to do this legally, allegedly seems to be, apparently, was purchased by William Beaumont Army Medical Center, to be seemingly, apparently, allegedly used as like an annex or, yeah, connected to the mortuary affairs. And yeah, when I lost the train of my train. Anyway, Richard's case, Richard's case, and Petra Crucia's case are connected. They are connected. 3905 Bliss Avenue is part of Patrick Crucia's case file, and 3905 Bliss Avenue is part of Richard's case file. And so it's very important to see these connections that connect also the Hart family, which, let's talk about that just for a minute. Uh, Maybe I shouldn't, but I should, because I want to talk about what I saw in Patrick Crucius. But the Hart family, I'm putting together a little review so everybody has that. We've been trying to keep a close lookout for these divorce proceedings between James Hart and Leilani Hart, and something has happened. It seems like they have kept things under wrap, or something very, very strange is happening, and they won't continue again until February. So something is really strange happening. But I put some notes down, and I'm going to turn it into a post because I think it's very important for everyone to have some of this information. One of the how Team Find Richard Halliday described this is, man, they are chaotic. This household, the Hart household, is a chaotic mess. It's just a mess, financially, morally, physically. It is a financial, it is a chaotic family, and I would say, sorry, and I would say a criminal family, a felony criminal family living in chaos. That is how I would describe this. Um, because what I'm remembering is all of Leilani's, because we have more in Leilani's hand, that her testimonies, more than just the notarized affidavit that she turned in to the CID, and it was accepted by the FBI. And we have the case files for the CID and the FBI case files for that affidavit. We have more than just that. But, this divorce is confirming reality. And the confirmation is that they were engaged in sexual deviant behavior, threesomes, foursomes, whatever. But I think the divorce said threesomes. They want to minimize it. Threesomes. So they were engaged in these sexual threesomes. Okay, this is a house where Hart Child Care, right? Hart Child Care. And child porn is being produced and allegedly, right? And this is Leilani's words now. This is Leilani, that they have a child porn problem. That Dallas Hart came to her house looking for the child porn as soon as he got back um, from his deployment. And, he was in trouble. He was in trouble. And that, you know what? I just thought of something. Okay, so August 3rd. So they came back from deployment and he came right over to get the child porn. Well, what does that mean? Time frame wise. Um, it means that he was Richard's platoon leader. Okay, that's what that means. He was Richard's platoon leader. So, and that Richard was making complaints before the August 3rd, uh, 2019 Walmart mass shooting. Okay, that really, if he's nervous about the IG or the law enforcement to come to his mother's house to find the child pornography, if he's trying to clean it up, and that was the whole gist of what was being said by Leilani, is that they were trying to hide the child porn, right? They were trying to get it, make sure it wasn't where anybody could find it. Um, so that is really important for the timeline. Um, and so absolutely the illegal gun purchase, the um, threatening with the gun, the lives of family members, also um, the sexual assault of a 7-year-old in Leilani Hart's bedroom. Also, did I say the illegal purchase of weapons? I think I did. Oh, the immigration status and the immigration status. She couldn't report because she was threatened with her immigration status. And then I don't know why she was worried about that. No one has to really worry about that. But that's what she said. So something is wrong with her immigration status. And then, of course, the non reporting. That is huge too. But in the divorce proceedings now, she is entitled somehow, because I don't know about you, but I don't think I would risk 24 months without paying my mortgage, right? She's not paying her mortgage for 24 months. That is, wow. And only $30 in her bank when she is 100% disabled. She doesn't even have to pay property tax. Okay, when you're 100% veteran disabled, you don't have to pay property tax. So it seems that she's trying to get a load of money, uh, near $170,000 in cash from James Hart, and then plus some more. She wants a monthly stipend. Um, can you believe that Dallas Hart was born on August 3rd, the same day as the Walmart mass shooting? Can you believe that? That's so weird. I don't know if that's a coincidence. I don't think that's a coincidence, y'all. Especially since Richard's case and the Walmart case are connected the way they are. I don't think so. In the divorce case, James Hart, uh, he's in debt. He has all kinds of crap. Well, I don't know if he has a lot of money. I'm sure he has a lot of money. She wants $170,000 from him. But he seems to have a very chaotic financial situation also. And yet he says that it's Leilani that has the chaotic financial problems and that she can't even recognize what reality is. Yeah. So these divorce proceedings have been very, very important in getting some insight into this case. And why is it important? Because Leilani Hart and Dallas Hart are key suspects in the murder of our son. And they're part of Richard's case file. So of course we're going to be looking at them. That would make us terrible investigators if we didn't look at Leilani Hart and James Hart and Dallas Hart. And James Hart, of course, being over there at the VA, no way could he have this kind of felony criminal accusations um, and have the trust of all of those records in his hand from all of the veterans. Something is very, very wrong here. Okay, let's go back to Patrick Crusius and autism. I don't know. I don't know if Patrick Crusius is on the spectrum. Okay, I don't know. I do know that from watching the videos on YouTube, from looking at the pictures, from the witness testimony. Now, what the media's narrative is that Patrick Crusius is a white supremacist with a manifesto that's a Trump lover, and just wants to shoot guns and whatever. Um, that's the narrative they're giving us for Patrick Crusius. Now, is it true that Patrick Crusius walked into the Walmart on Dallas's birthday, right? And shot up people? Yes, it's absolutely true. He's absolutely guilty for doing that. Okay? I am not saying that he's not guilty. He has been, uh, in the federal court, he has been convicted of shooting um, people in the Walmart. So that is, that is undisputed. Okay? That is not even up for dispute. He did do that. The the interesting I just mentioned yesterday, and it was kind of offhand. I don't know how important it is. I feel like it might be a little bit important because I know that these children that have Down syndrome or have autism get taken advantage of. Uh, Absolutely. It's just like the elderly. The elderly in these homes, they get taken advantage of. Um, they need extra care. I worked with them. They need extra care. And the difference between, and I'm not saying that Patrick Crusius is autistic or Dallas Hart is autistic. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is I got some indications. I got some, like, my training kicked in, and I had these flashes of warnings, lights saying, warning, warning, autism, autism. And, so you have to change the way you approach things, right? You cannot approach an autistic person the way you would just an everyday person, right? Because, they have a very hard time connecting. I'm a very huggy person. I go up to people and I like to hug them. That can be a problem with autistic people. So, they are very aggressive. Um, a lot of times they're very aggressive, and they'll even bite themselves, and and they will absolutely um, act out in aggression, because that is just one of the way they express themselves, and they don't even understand the consequences of the violence, the aggression that they are committing. They really don't. Now, that explains to me the videos, the YouTubes of Patrick Crusius in the courtroom when he's in public. He is it's just so indicative of an autistic person. Now, is he autistic? I don't know. They haven't mentioned. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm just saying you know, I I don't know how he could do this alone. I think that there's more to the story, just like there's more to Richard's story. And we found so many things because we didn't just accept what uh, the narrative was saying about our son, and now we've really debunked it. And Richard is really turning into be a hero, because if he was reporting on the very people that uh, are, if he's reporting to on the very people that, how do I say this, orchestrating, were they planning, were they participating, were they ignoring this whole thing with the Walmart? I don't think he was alone, so I'm going to say seemingly orchestrated and planned the Walmart mass shooting. Okay. Um, that makes more sense to me with everything that I've read, because clearly, that manifesto is garbage. Okay. I don't know. I think it needs to be forensically looked at much better. And I might get some hits for that. But the reason why I'm saying it is because I read the witness statements. And the witness statements are that Patrick Crusius just walked in and just started shooting. He didn't care what color your skin was, how old you were, what sex you were, what gender you were. He didn't care if you were wearing red, blue, orange. He didn't care. Um, there were no, he wasn't making any kind of distinguishing gestures, or, he just opened fire like a crazy man and tried to kill whoever he could. And it didn't matter who you were. No, so that whole manifesto thing, to me, I think that was totally debunked just by the witness statements. And, some people want a manifesto, they want it to be real or whatever. But, like James Hart thinks about Leilani, that she can't distinguish between fact and fiction. Um, we need to be careful too. And in this case, there's so many facts there that he was just shooting in the middle of the, whoever was in front of him in that Walmart. That's who he was shooting. That's pretty clear. He wasn't separating the people out, and then letting some people go. And no, they all randomly were shot and killed or injured, or you survived. It was just that. It didn't matter who you were. So I think that that is very, very clear. So you have my opinion on that. Should we take it seriously? Well, if you are part of the Patrick Crusius case and maybe you can give an indication to us. Um, if that is why they are delaying, because they don't want that information to get out, I don't know. I think maybe there's a possibility that the guns might have come from Fort Bliss since the ATF were there, since the military was involved in the Patrick Crucius case, um, because that's not normal either unless there is a military person involved or military equipment. So, when that's why this transparency is so important. The transparency is so important, and I hope they don't lie. I hope they give it to us straight. What happened on August 3rd on Dallas's birthday? What happened on Dallas's birthday, August 3rd, 2019? Right? What happened? Um, there's some more information I have. I'm not at liberty to reveal it quite yet, but I think it's very, very important. And just remember that if our suspicions are correct, to mind control. Remember, Patrick Crucius' father wrote a book on mind control. And also, it, you know, it would be interesting, because one other thing that I know about families that have an autistic member in their family is that it is so difficult that they seek help. Um, Families very rarely do it on their own. They seek help. It is, it's very difficult. And so I think that it would be easy to get some records. That's, there are lots of programs, lots of diagnostic, autistic diagnostic centers that help in these cases, and so there would be records, um, and you know, of programs, and I think that that would absolutely answer some of our questions. And the proclivity to violence, to aggression, is very high, um, with autistic individuals, and they're mostly all male. There's very few female in and the numbers are rising. And so I think that needs to be transparent. I think that the population in El Paso, well, even around the world, everyone knows about this case, the Walmart mass shooting case. Um, and, how is that connected to 3905 Bliss Avenue? How is that connected to William Beaumont Army Medical Center? How is that connected to, it would be a university that would have some kind of program like that. I don't know if Park does. I don't know if UTEP does. I don't know if New Mexico State University does. But, that would be where I would look, and maybe I will, for records for any kind of studies, involvement, and help. Um, yeah, to get answers. And it just puts this whole case and Richard's case in a different perspective, in a very different perspective. Um, and I hope people aren't using and abusing people with disabilities, because we know that they do that with the Down syndrome. They sexualize, Down syndrome individuals are very loving people. Um, they're very fun. They're very loving. They don't have a proclivity to aggression or violence. They're very easygoing. Um, that's not so with autistic. And that's why, for the sexualization of individuals, uh, Down syndrome, we know through lots of records, uh, articles, that they have been targeted sexually. Um, Huge crime, huge crime. And, when you have a community, uh, um, a group, that are definitely targeting children. We know the Harts targeted children. We know this group uh, commit crimes with the trafficking, all kinds of trafficking, weapon smuggling, um, ammunition smuggling, and I'm talking about tactical move storage units full of it. And so they absolutely have those tactical move storage units, and a good place to put all that stuff and then move it over to the border would be kilometer 29 through the Santa Teresa port of entry. It all makes a lot of sense in that area. And there is, and this is not just me. How do you think I even came to these suspicions? It is from news articles, from crimes being caught. You have the Pentagon officials being caught in this um, sex ring, right? Um, you have human trafficking right there on the border all the time. It's huge. You have the human trafficking out of the emergency intake centers. That's proven. That's not me. You have Leilani Hart saying that the family is involved in incest and threesomes. You have the divorce proceedings right now, information coming out saying that they're involved in these threesomes and that. You have both of them claiming multiple sexual affairs, multiple totally open marriage, and with multiple people with open marriages, and all, and their circle of friends seem to have that same kind of lifestyle. And so there is no ring of trust. Anybody at any time could you know come together in any way. I hate to even talk about it. I don't know how to talk about it. But there's no loyalty or trust, or there's no um so, and then for the children, uh so this is all chaotic. This is criminal. This is chaotic. And if they live that way, would they take advantage of disabled people, disabled individuals? And absolutely they would. And you know, um, I'm just in awe how this is even a possibility. But I really believe it is. I believe that this is a possibility. I don't know if it's an accident or just a coincidence that the Walmart mass shooting happened on Dallas Hart's birthday. I don't know. Uh, I don't think so. I think there's something there. I think there is something there. And the level of law enforcement manipulation in this, the level of media manipulation. Let's talk about that for a minute. So we have, Bob Moore. Um, we have reported him to the IRS. We have confirmation that the IRS is investigating him. Why are they investigating him? Because he gets tax-free status with his 501c. He gets tax-free status. He's supposed to be neutral, but he hasn't been neutral. He has violated his 501c3 over and over and over again. And one of the times, well, multiple times that he violated it, it is with our son's case, with an unreliable source, a convicted criminal, to, um, to thwart finding out what happened to Richard. Because if we find out what happened to Richard, we will find these trafficking rings. We will find these smuggling rings. We will find the true story of what happened at the Walmart on August 3rd, 2019. And I'm just thinking, because there's not transparency in Patrick Crucia's case. And the ATF was there at our meeting. Why was the ATF there? Weapon smuggling? Okay, was that it? Was that it? If Richard's case is connected with the Walmart case, I'm praying to God they didn't get the weapons from Fort Bliss. And I'm praying to God that Patrick Crucius didn't have help. But I think he had help, y'all, because I suspect that he might be on the spectrum. And then he would have to have help. Um, and if they're trying to cover up, and they are absolutely trying to cover up these cases from coming out, both of them, they're delaying justice for the victims of Patrick Crucius shootings, and they are delaying Richard's case. So they are absolutely covering this up. But the good news is that the cover up is breaking. It's shattering, and we are getting institutional support from within. They've been driven, right? We have been driving them. We have been forcing them to make choices. Do we want to align with the felony crime that has been and is being covered up? Do we want to align with that, or do we want to get justice now and keep my job, right? So they're being forced. There's a lot of shaking going on, and you see that with what's going on in Washington, D.C., what's going on with the George Floyd truth coming out, what's going on with the whole COVID truth coming out, what's going on with just all this child trafficking. That's all coming out right now. I get sent all kinds of stuff. And it seems that people are sick and tired of the criminal syndication, that the legalization of crime, right? Which is immoral, right? Because the legalization of crime would be a move against God, so it's immoral, right? Um, and we're even being told that they're trying to move against God by, they're saying, oh, the biggest threat would be law and order. Well, who is chaotic? James Hart. So he's a good fit for someone that would not want law and order because his life is totally chaos. So that it makes a lot of sense. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, Mitzi. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Francis, for coming on. God bless you. And we have more news, and hopefully I can come on a little bit earlier tomorrow. I think it'll be very important to do that. So thank you, everyone. God bless you, and I'll be back tomorrow, God willing.